Look what I got right here. Look what I got. Hey, 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 hey. All right, so cowbell's the lowest. We can sample these later, but I just recently got this one. It's freaking huge. It's as long as the cowbell. It's as wide as the cowbell is long. It's crazy. So I'm gonna go ahead and put this on. You can hear that cowbell because it's attached to this one right here. But I still, so this is kind of the theory. You can have these ascending. You could, I mean, I would like them to ascend. Let me move this over a little bit. I would like them to ascend to the bongos right here. Okay. I want them to gradually build up. So with this method, let's see, this is actually going to be over here. And I'm just going to set them loose because I want to make sure that I have the levels right for them. I switched this over and then I realized, okay, I really want to make this functional, right? It could be sexy. You can put your cymbals super high and your toms at a 45-degree angle to the kit, right? But generally you want to mirror what the snare drum is doing. So I have a slight lean in, maybe, I don't know, 5 to 10 degrees in, probably 5, right? And I want these to go and then, right? So we've got 5 of them total. I'm gonna have to set this up a little different. I don't usually recommend putting anything on a drum kit, especially with the silencer rings, the O-rings right here, because it can perforate them, it can tear them, it can fuck them up, and you generally want to take all that stuff off. But I've just got one on my snare, just because that's what I need for that. So I was gonna bring these 2 forks forward, but now because of this this setup, right, pitch wise it should go, let's just say, over my hi-hat right now, left to right, highest pitch to lowest pitch, right? And then they should, this cowbell should meet right about here, and the level should basically be easy to transition from, just like what we learned when we do drum fills, right? So with that being said, I'm going to put this fork probably, let's see, put that in there, see where we're at, right? And you want to tighten the shit out of this. You kind of want to have it as like a placeholder. Like I have this one on here right now. It's stationary. The tripod down at the bottom is as wide as it can go, right? You're just looking basically for the feet, not for the height of the adjustment on the actual center of the stand, the hardware stand, right? So I'm gonna kind of look at this because I want this to flow from left to right, correct? So I do need that to grab on the bottom to actually be functional. So I'm gonna put this right here, real loose. You don't need to fuck it up too much, right? So that's there. Then the blue one's next. So that one's gonna go on here. And I think this one's on the right side, so it can be on the left as far as possible. This one is centered, right? So I'm gonna see where that is laying. Yeah, that looks pretty good. So that way it has clearance, but it's still as far down as possible. Yeah, that looks good. Okay, and now I'm gonna bring this down because I need a little bit more space. If I got 5 of them, right? That's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Cowbells last. So I'm gonna need to go a little bit further this way, actually. That's crazy. Damn. All right, and down. There we go. All right, so we get this one. And this will have to be functional, right? Okay, so because like once I get this set up, it's gonna be like, oh shit, okay, well, like you really need to kind of like let it be loose in there as you're doing it. Let me go ahead and make sure that this is, you can actually see. There we go. Okay, there we go. Let's do that. So I'm shifting this, and I'm seeing 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Might be the cowbell might be a little bit higher, but we'll see. We'll see what we got. Let's see. I think that one there, as long as I have a clearance for the center of each LP block, that's what I'm basically trying to go off of. So, but a lot of block parts or percussion parts are super quick. So we need to kind of be mindful of that too, as far as like the ergonomics and also the ability for us to switch. You know, if it's just a single hit versus like a triplet or something like that, then that's really gonna affect the spacing and the placement. If I can go up to transition over on the top of it, kind of like J-hook and like football, right? It's kind of come back around. That might need a little bit more space, actually. Damn, it's crazy. Crazy to think about, but it is true. Very true. Okay, so I'm gonna bring this up a little bit. Yeah, because I kind of want these a similar level. I don't know if I should put it down here. Let's see. The trick is to always allow room for you to tighten that down in between here, right? And still have access to the other ones. So just kind of play around with it, you know, don't get too attached to your setup. Always be willing to kind of play with it and mess around and see, 1, if it's functional, 2, if it's specific to your song, right? 3, if it looks good, right? The sexiness, the look, the viability of the look is tertiary. It's not even secondary, right? Okay, so that's good. That looks good. And I think it's gonna go there. Damn, that's crazy. Like as I'm evaluating this, I'm like, okay, how can I make this still stair step, but functional? Because right now, it's almost as if, let's see, yeah, I'm gonna have to come out with this a little bit. On my seat since it's so big. So I'm gonna take this off. With my cowbell. Yeah. Okay. So this might have to, yeah, I think this is gonna have to change here. So we're gonna take this off. Just kind of mock display that. See if it works. Catch this. Yeah, I think that's gonna be a little bit better. Because this one can kind of branch out It might have to be two levels. I might have to go, right? Might have to be in front a little bit for the purple and the cowbell, purple LP block and the cowbell. So in a perfect world, I'd like these straight across, right? Just like a marimba, just like a piano key. But rule number one, right? Make it fucking functional. Okay. There's that setup right there. Now, okay. So we've got, this is essentially what I was saying like this. It should look something like that. So if I have to, I could put that one up there. Because over here, let's see. Yeah, I don't know. Cause the cowbell's kind of in the way. Let's see. Maybe I can bring. See, I think I'm gonna try to bring this up forward. That way that can be out in front a little bit more. Okay. It's coming along okay, all right. And this is the thing, you gotta spend this time, you gotta spend at least 30 minutes to an hour trying to figure this stuff out, so that way when you get to your song, you're recording, you've got all your mics set up, everything's kind of grabbed onto the rim, or however you're recording this. I don't suggest rim-mounted microphones. A lot of companies will do, like there's a Shure kit that I got for my first drum mic kit. And then I went to this CAD kit, and I haven't even used it yet. It's been so, I don't know. I like a room mic. I like 3 mics, like a mic on the kick drum, an overhead mic, and a mic on the snare. Sometimes a 57 Shure SM57 on the top of the snare, and like a different microphone to kind of give it a little bit more color, right? Or to capture the timbre, right? We're capturing sound pressure levels, right? Or sound waves, and then the sound pressure level is reverberating through this. You know, this one has like breather holes. That's not one, but actually, oh, that's where you plug it in. What the fuck? No way. Okay, I didn't know that. Guess apparently this you can plug in this pork pie drum kit. That's awesome. Well, I'm using Evans heads. I love Evans heads. They just have like a certain sound that I like. But it's preference. Don't let anyone fucking tell you like you're a piece of shit if you use blah, 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 right? If you find what you like, then that is what matters. It's all for preference. It's just like as a guitarist, right? We want to have the perfect pick, right? We want to, I play what this guy plays, right? It's like the Ernie Ball method early on, where I was like, oh, well, this person uses Ernie Ball strings. I guess I should go from GHS guitar or boomers to Ernie Ball strings. But the strings, like I found out that I'd always go thicker, but then I couldn't bend and I couldn't express myself, right? This LP block setup is about self-expression. It's about tonality and having the pitch go top to bottom, right? And to have that accessible, right? Because if it looks cool and this is a badass setup, but the drums are too wide for you, and you're finding, you dropped the cowbell. Hey, that's a joke right there. I mean, I could put a block on, you know, like maybe the small block on the top, but I need this room. I need this room for some bell work on my hi-hat when I do bell work. And I also need it for the clutch. I need it for this thing right here. So, and I don't need anything weighting this down to close my hi-hats when I don't need them closed. And that's probably the smallest tolerance on drums or percussion is a hi-hat cymbal, right? It's got a sizzle, right? So, so kind of keep that in mind as you're setting up your blocks and you know, whatever you want to do. You could even put a marimba right here on the side, right? And then you just swing over, boom, and then you're playing. You know, you don't have to have mallets like this. That has just a little bit of a sizzle. Got some new sticks to show you guys too later. Ah, these Pro Marks are sick. For hickory. So, okay, so let's talk about length of stick placement, right? Or where you want to be at. So that is, the clutch is actually blocking the height of that first. Yeah, so that's going to be an issue. So either I come down with my hi-hats, right? Or I come up with my percussion blocks. I think I'm already maxed out on this, so I'm going to make a decision to bring these bongos out of place, or out of where they're at, and I'll find a different place for them, right? I really need these to be functional, right? That's what we're talking about. The feasibility of like what you're actually doing, and like, is it working? Are we beating our heads against the walls as drummers? Are we wearing, you know, are we actually, you know, thinking about what we want to have happen here? As far as the functionality, like functionality is king. Everything should be accessible. You shouldn't have to turn your body too much. You know, some people have like an extra snare over here, but those are the exceptions, right? We need to have things up close and personal. They don't need to be blocking anything. So that's what we're going to be working on, is can this fit? No, it can't fit. This is in the way. There we go. Move this wrapping paper out of the way. Okay, there we go. So maybe the, woo! There we go. This can go up under here. No. No. Trying to get these bongos as close as possible, but sometimes that's tough. Sometimes you have to kind of show you a little bit. There we go. Here we go. So I'm gonna have to move this. I know that. I have to move this down a little bit, and that's okay if it's functional. It's gonna work. It's gonna be nice. You're gonna appreciate the hell out of that. You know, cymbal height's a little bit different. I think it should lean in, I don't know, maybe 7 degrees or so. But it's, like I said before, it's personal preference. Here we go. Okay, so I'm gonna get these closed. Maybe, I might bring that back a little bit. Let's see. Might bring it over on the other side just to get a little closer. Yeah, see? I mean, I can move this cymbal. I think that might be probably the best solution for this. Because otherwise you're kind of off to the side there. Let's see. I never loosen these all the way. I always want a little bit of a grab so I can like push down. Okay, that's as close as I can get them for now. But these are, what we're doing is just figuring out micro movements of like where we can be, what we can do. You know, maybe raise the top part of the kick drum, bass drum, right? And then you can come in here. I like my cymbals all in one place usually, but if I need to, right? Can figure this out. Yeah, see, that's kind of tough. There we go. Okay. And this is gonna have to go. Maybe it was almost like a cymbal on a timbale. There we go. Loose. I'll tighten those. There we go. All right. So let's go back to the LP blocks. There we go. So let's see. So now these are going to make me go a little bit to the left here, closer to the hi-hats. And I'm going to raise them up a little bit. Need to control the angle of that so I can kind of get it in a little bit closer. Yeah, see, I think that'll be a lot better. Okay, so function check, right? Yeah, that sounds cool. Okay. Damn, I think I'm gonna have to come out with this again. Let's see. If that's left, that's center. That's on the right. Yeah, I think I'm gonna have to come off with this. Make it come off from the right. There we go. That's better. Alright. Just set it up to that level. Oops. Okay, there we go. Yeah, so that'll be nice. And then that clutch can stay right there. I'll have clearance there. So I'll actually come up with that a little bit. Yeah. There we go. Okay, now I can kind of see where this is. This can be whatever way as long as these are fine on there. So yeah, I think that's fine. Okay. Okay. And that's set for the bottom to barely be in there. So here's the setup. Yeah, I think that might work right there. Maybe the cowbell's a little bit. Yeah. I think that'll be good. Cowbell's a little bit off to the side. I can kind of angle that there. And usually, sometimes you got like a third attachment on a tree, and this whole system can go right here, which is what I would recommend. I just don't have it available. So let's see. Which this is reverse. This is functionality, not highest note is at the top. This is actually reversed. So that is a little weird, but like I said, if it's functional, I think functionality is the sexiest thing that you could do. And that's gonna come up a little bit. I'm just kind of aligning with my shoulder. Just for now. There we go. Okay. So I'm gonna kind of come back with this. And I think this can actually go up here. I think that'll be nice for that level. There. It. I'm trying to get it out of the way a little bit, like I want this here. Okay, maybe come down a little bit. Yeah, that way I can still hit my high tom in the center. Still do a rim shot if I need to on the high tom. And see where this is gonna be at. All right, okay. That blocks this. No pun intended. Yeah, the hi-hat is blocking the. All right. Let's see. I guess what I could do is bring this around. Loosen that. Let's see where this can go. All right, I think I'm gonna have to. Kind of have to come out with this and put it on the right side, like the orange one. This. Let's see. Little metal shaving right here, dude. Okay. Anything you could do to preserve your hands, at the same time, just like a little caveat. A little extra tip is to. There it goes. This is a new one, so I feel like it's like not ever been in there. Maybe, I don't know. Maybe they checked it. Maybe they didn't. but like not to wrench your fingers to where your grip strength is affected, especially during a show, right? I've done that before. I've done that before. It did not feel good. So, yeah, preserve your hand strength, your grip strength, right? And okay, so this is gonna have to be like this. I'll do the level later, but I just want to make sure that this is, yeah, let's see. Okay, so here, it's gonna have to be in between the orange and the blue. And really, I need to kind of, let's see. All right, yeah. Okay, there we go. And this is what I'm saying about levels, like, you can set something up and it just needs to be tweaked. So don't wrench anything down just yet. See, this one can go up a little bit more. I'm gonna make these equidistant. So I'm gonna measure here. Boom. All right. Doesn't have to be exact. It just has to kind of conform a little bit. That way I can give this a little bit more room. Okay, that's cool. And then I'm going to give this even a little bit more room. Just want all of this to breathe. Yeah, there we go. Nice. Now I can tighten down just a little bit more. Not too much, but it's always looking at like levels and get that bird's eye view. Okay, so come back with it. Because it, you know, you want it to look nice, but like I said, it has to be functional. Fuck it if it's not functional, man. Jeez, it's not worth it. All right, and this one's gonna have to be in front a little bit more, but that's okay. I'll move this accordingly. There we go. This thing's made in Thailand, eh? All right, so we could try to move this. See, it's a little bit, it's like once you tighten it down, it kind of settles in. So I don't want anything to, kind of be in competition or like be vibrating off of another thing. So I'm trying to get all this space in here. Because it's already going to vibrate a little bit. Like I can hear myself in this cowbell. Legitimately. Okay. Setting the levels. Now I'm going in between here, the blue and the red. And this might need to come down. You know, I might need to come to the left this way with my hi-hat. I might need to take my double bass pedal and condense a little bit more. I have played a kit like this. It's kind of nice. But the floor tom's really tough to get to the level of the snare, in my opinion. But you know, just like if I only had a snare drum, I'm trying to think about what is the most ergonomic way I can play this kit. You know, just kind of focus on, I need a double bass pedal to cover that. I had two singles up there. There we go. So that's going to be an issue. This blue one back here is right in line with. That sounds cool. That's another thing, like a sticking pattern. Yeah, see, that's gonna have to come, this is gonna come up a little bit. That's fine. And this one's gonna bottom, or top out, rather. Something about tightening it too much, it's like, just too much. There, all right. So for me, this this could go back a little bit, and I don't know. I kind of want to see if I could function like this with. Let's see if you can see that. There we go. Move that crash out of the way. So with the cowbell at a 45-degree angle, I can still kind of get in there and yeah, that sounds cool. I mean, that's a little bit like actually having to go in there, which is why it's usually in the front or off one of the main arms for the high or the mid tom. But I can work with that though. See, now it's touching this. Damn, crazy. Okay, okay, okay. So I'm gonna bring it back here. Hold the level. Hold the line. Yeah. All right. Well, fuck it. Bring it up a little bit. There we go. All right. Let's see. That might work. Let's see. Yeah, that's cool. Okay. Yeah, I mean, this is okay for now. Like, it's so new. I feel like the setup is a lot different than my previous videos that I've done on my LP blocks for committed musicians. You know, like you and me, like we're trying to do this thing for fucking real. Like we're not playing around. We're doing the things, we're buying the products that we need to achieve our sound as percussionists, as drummers, right? But we're also being real with it. It's like, hey, if this block doesn't work, this purple one, and it takes away from the distance, you know, the interval between here and here. I mean, I think it might have to be flipped, like we're talking about, like how it makes sense. The high block up here, you know, this can stay where it's at. These two flip, the red and the purple flip, and these flip. So, but we'll see. Like, if it's functionally okay, then I would say at least keep it there, depending on how long you have. If you need to record something with your LP blocks or any sort of percussion setup, and you know, you've got less than 24 hours or less than a week or less than 2 or 3 days, I would say, you know, sometimes, you know, you maybe take some of these off or see, like one time, one of my recording engineers in Georgia, he was talking about, like, this famous band, I won't say who it is, or fuck it, I'll say it, from first to last. You guys know DJ Skrillex. I think it was the drummer for that band, if I'm not mistaken. Or maybe it was someone else, I don't know. But anyways, he was having trouble. The recording engineer, Lee, was talking about the drummer from first to last was not able to get to a fill that went from his high tom to his floor tom. And it involved, somehow the fill involved the mid tom. And so what he did was he took out the mid tom. And so he was able to make the transition from high tom to floor tom. And then he put that back into the mix, that middle tom. It was fucking perfect. He nailed the part first or second time. They went on through the recording process, right? But at that time, it was like the be-all, end-all, like, you have to get this right. So, yes, you know, I can probably move this back a little bit. You know, maybe that's a good compromise. But we're also reaching a little bit for this orange block here. You know, like that might be what it needs to be. You know, I've gotten like slices on my hands from, you know, some older hi-hats. These are older Zildjian hi-hats. And yeah, it hurts, man, if you're trying to play through a song and you're just bleeding all over the place. I was bleeding down my wrist, and it was just all over my snare drum. And I was just like, shit, man, I can't stop. I have to keep going. So that might not be an acceptable level. It might need to be like where this blue one's at for the orange. Yeah, I mean, that's an okay. It's usually here or over here. Yeah, I don't know. That's I don't really want to. I can't really go too much higher with my clutch for my hi-hat height. I could lower the drums a little bit down. That might be what I do. So let's see. I kind of want to have these equidistant too. The snare drum equidistant, or the same distance. If you're measuring out like with a stick, the center of this versus the center of that. Boom. Boom, almost perfect. It's about an inch off. Yeah, that'll work. And this is an okay placement for now. And kind of what we were going, you know, saying about these all the, you know, the percussion in general, like. Sometimes it needs to be kicked off to the side. That one really can't get that close, so it's gonna have to come around. I mean, I wish, I don't know, maybe it could go over here, the bongos, but I feel like let's see. Let's set this as high as possible. All right. There we go. Yeah, that's intense. That's an intense angle. Needs to be like gone back with a little bit, but that's the point of having like a drum rub too. Is you can make oh, here my tongue away. you make these adjustments, these small adjustments for your kit, and you can mark it off. You can mark X's on everything, and then the X, you know, right below the X, you can put HT or high tom or kick KL1, KL2 for kick leg 1 and kick leg 2. Or spray paint them, you know, and have a color-coded thing. Like, think outside the box as a percussionist. We're already kind of like the weirdly creative oddballs because, you know, technically these do have pitches, but a lot of other musicians don't really hear timbre or tone color. They don't hear the difference between that. Right? They don't hear that. They just hear ba 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 ba. Right? They hear a difference, but it's like it's not. Their ears aren't as developed as the drummer's ears to their own kit, right? And so, likely, you know, rightly so for guitarists, and you know, specifically on the low end, bassists are really keyed into tone, especially when they dial that tone knob. Dobby's the free elf. Especially when they dial those highs back or down, you know, and you hear more of just a muted bass timbre or tonality, tone color, right? It's really hard for me to go from guitar to bass when I'm writing, when I'm actually, you know, at my project studio, like doing both in the box, you know, recording in the box, in the computer, and, you know, those guitar and bass inputs are going into the audio interface. It's a little tough. And so we need to think about functionality, right? But also, like, you know, you might need to break off your kit, and you know, so that's what I'm thinking for these. How much do I really need those on a main kit, right? Does this LP woodblock setup, does that go on my suitcase drum kit for my jungle kit, right? All the fake Monstera plants all around it. It's a green, you know, 2-to-1 ratioed average style of old school suitcase that's like kind of like particle board. It sounds really good. I actually busted a hole through it, so I had to flip it around to the other side, which does affect its tone. But yeah, we need to be thinking about the timbre, the tone color of what we're doing and how we're tuning our drums. You know, is this to C? Almost to C. I was actually tuning it, listening to a C pedal tone. So I can hear a train coming. It's cool. So yeah, so this is good enough for now. Like, there's no time constraint on this. I don't have to be recording something tonight and have my deliverables. As far as the drum tracks, the dry stems, you know, of what drums I record to anyone. So then that's the most beautiful thing about it, you know. I'm not on anyone else's time crunch or time frame. You know, I'm not crunched to get this right tonight and to work on a part, right? So yeah, I don't know, maybe this could go over here a little bit more. It could go here. I'm blocking myself off though. Yeah, it could go here. Yeah, that's so far away though, damn. It's tough. And I always want the tightener on my hardware to be as close as possible, or at least accessible. Yeah, I mean, that could Let's just take it out and see where it's at, right? Yeah, that could work. I'll probably just get my triple tree and do it over there. All right. Yeah, because I've blocked myself in here. No pun intended. Yeah, that might work. Yeah. All right. Cool. Well, that works out. And now I just need to get these cymbals situated. The crazy thing is, for this, I have like an arm, a hardware arm that is usually, like, I've consistently used it for as a splash, like a 10-inch splash. But I have it specifically for my ride cymbal, my 20-inch rock ride from Sabian. So, I mean, that's gonna have to. I like the shifting capabilities of that arm, where I could just hold this one and then kind of come out with it, and then just shift this top elbow, and then I'm good again. Well, maybe one more. There we go. Yeah, that's nice. Still grab it, but you're not smashing your knuckles against the sides. Yeah, that's nice. Okay. Move my chair. Yeah, that's nice. I like that. So, yeah, that's good there. So yeah, that's kind of what we've worked on is kind of what you have to figure out. You got to do the work on that. Figure out what the hell you need. And yeah, I guess, let's see. Let's bring this back over across the bongos. Don't get messed up over there. Let's see. There we go. That's good. Okay, now I can bring these back over here. Yeah, that might have to be how it's set up for now. And then this one could really go here. This orange one can raise up. Yeah, there we go. That way. That way this one can kind of be kicked off to the side. Let's see. Can I get that a little closer? Hey, there we go. Okay. Now I can raise this up. Yeah, that's a lot. That's a hell of a lot better. Okay. So that one's kicked off to the left. Okay, that's good there. All right. Sorry, y'all. I'm all working all crazy over here in the corner. There we go. So this one's off to the left. This one's equidistant between the orange and the purple, and then we've got this one kicking back to the right. And they're equidistant for the most part. Okay, there we go. Okay. Now I can tighten things down a little bit. And really, this, man, I don't know. It's almost like these need to get, this needs to come up a little bit. Yeah. It's gonna be tough to, So that's left, this is center, this is right. In theory, it should be enough room, but this blue one is really covering it. So I'm thinking about taking these off, switching them. And I'm just, I don't know. I don't fucking know. But I'm gonna try it, right? You gotta try it. So I'm gonna try to get this one down first. Put in place one. That way you can have just a little bit of clearance. Yeah, and be up here. Yeah, let's see. Oh, I might. Maybe, let's see. So I thought I was gonna flip these around, but let's try this like that. That way this will be a little bit more stair-stepped. Let's just see the placement of that if it were over here. It could fan out like a spiral staircase. You could do that too. That's also another idea. I'm not going to go with that. I could, let's see. There we go. Oh, okay, that one's there. Okay. Got a wing nut in the way. It's okay. All I gotta do is turn that one loose and then I can put this one on. Hopefully. No. Damn it. Yeah, well, shit. Let's see. So that one's there. Could come down with this one. And this is what I'm talking about. It's like wild that this would have to be, you think you just, okay, well, I'm just going to set this up like this and it's going to work. And then when it doesn't, you're like, oh shit, okay, well, what do I do now? So now I'm coming down with it a little bit more, making room on the purple and the purple LP block and the cowbell. That looks weird. Is that shifted down? There we go. And then let's see the placement of this. So that's there. That could be there. Man, fuck it. I think I'm gonna try that. Just try it right here. See if it works. Nothing ventured, nothing gained, right? So. And I think I might have had it set up like this before, but it was just kind of weird. So that one goes there. This one can kind of come in a little bit. Ooh, man, just grabbing and pulling down on my hand here. This is a weird method, but shit if it works, you know? I'm trying to get as close as possible without touching. So, this can work. Let's see. See about it. Yeah, I think that'll work. Let's see if it's functional though. It looks like it'll work, right? All right. That's cool. Okay. Yeah, maybe that'll do it. Let's see if I can get this. Can I get it out of the way? I'm just trying shit, right? Doesn't have to. Okay. That's crazy how close it can be and it still works. That's wow. And to be musical with this, right? That's what we're fucking creating, right? It's music. So that's why I tried to do it at the end of where a fill would go, you know, as far as at the end of the beat. You know, trying to incorporate two, each of the two, right? All the way down pitch-wise. So, one triplet and one, and so now I'm thinking about this sticking. If I had this red one here, I could go left, right, boom. So that might be where I'm at. Yeah, I think that's what I'm gonna do. Which is fucking crazy. I'm not frustrated, I'm just trying to stay within the curiosity, right? Trying to stay curious of... Oh, that sounded cool. Shing! Shwing. Trying to stay curious to what is gonna work and like what, you know, like have fun through the process of working on something like this. Because it can really jar at you. It can really like, okay, I'm gonna do it tomorrow, I'll do it tomorrow, I'll do it, and then tomorrow never comes, right? So now I can kind of get a little bit more real estate on the height. There we go. Let me put these down. And just kind of mock it up there. Bum, 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 bum. Okay, so I need to go bum, bum, bum. Okay, so this one goes next. Or it could just be a large tree, right? And it goes left, right, left, right, left, right. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, yeah. Or 5. Triplet. 1, 2. Double. Triplet, double. Triplet, double. Triplet, double. So maybe... Shit, maybe the... That goes here. Damn, it's crazy. Okay, here, we'll do this. Bring this out. There we go. Bend that a little bit. And then this one can go down here. That's nice. Got a little bit of room. Shit. Hey. All right. Okay. That one's good there. That one's good there. Yeah, that might need to go towards the center again, but I'll just keep it right there. Yeah, I like that. I like that. Okay. So let's try it at the top height. Yep. Leveling technique's not working. It's like, stay flexible, right? Okay, there we go. This one. That one might have to come out a little bit. Let's see, or come down. Let's see. Interesting. Okay, no. This'll work. All right, okay. Shit, that's fucking cool. Set the height on that. Oh, actually, that's got to be a little bit lower. All right, so if these are a little bit cocked off a little bit to the sides, that's okay. These are all insanely tightened down. One of the tricks that you can use is you can take your drumsticks so they're strongest, you know, kind of like marching drum sort of style. And you can take them and use the center part of the stick to wrench. Use that as your wrench. Try not to slip. There we go, that one came a lot. Oh. Cool, all right, so that's even more tight on there. It feels good, so now this can come in a little bit. Sometimes you can get a little bit more range by like basically seeing what the weight of it does to your hardware. So on your tripod, right? So, I mean, it's not too bad. It's weighted a little bit over to the left. I'm just gonna have this, one of the three legs, directly over the heaviest part of this, just like the ride cymbal usually is, right? You want a leg to correspond to the arm of where the cymbal is going, so that it doesn't weigh down, especially when you go to ride or crash it, you know, riding your crash cymbal rather, right? Or riding your ride, right? So let's see if we can get any closer. That looks pretty good. Let's see if we can come down with it. Okay, that's cool. Yeah, shit, that could work. I think the only other thing that I could do to make this more functional, all right, because we're dealing with functionality, is to take this and bring it center. I think that might work. Let's see. Ooh, the mouth of a squeak dim. All right, so that kind of brings it away from the grouping, but that's what I love about these, like, these Z type hardwares, is you can kind of mess them around a little bit, flip them, whatever needs to happen. Yeah, so that's gonna block the cowbell, but let's see. Get the distance on that back here. Gonna nestle it in. Yeah, hey, there we go, there we go. We're figuring it out, right? Look at that. That's awesome. Okay. That gives it a lot of space between the blue and the purple, and also the surface of the cowbell is able to, I'm able to kind of get in there to the back a little bit. So, yeah, so I'll go right there. There we go. There. That feels good. As far as placement and distance between each of the blocks on the cowbell. Cool, yeah. There's your ba-da-ba-ba-da, the charge. So yeah, it's really hard to be musical with this. Like, you really have to work on what, it has to be structured and geared towards the composition. But I'd say for the most part, this is a good level. You want to kind of give your hi-hats a little bit of room there to kind of sizzle, especially if your clutch, your foot is pressed down and you have a little bit more. But sometimes, I would call them happy accidents, right? Sometimes you have like this, sort of like rubbing effect, or it kind of reverberates, or there's like overtones that are created based on things being closer to other things or farther apart, right? The resonant factor. So think about that. Think about these things as you're going to set up your drum kit, specifically your drum kit, but also for percussion too, and percussionists. That we have like felt tables with all of their percussion instruments, right? Right? A lot of the Latin rhythm instruments would take a felt topped, just kind of like a podium, is what we called it in jazz band in college. But I can't harp on this enough as far as like the functionality of what we're doing here. And that's why that's everything that I was deciding tonight with you as a committed musician, is like how to stay committed, how to nail the part. It's like hearing the part in your head, like now that it's functional, now we go into, we're shifting from functionality to playability. Like, is this going to be right? The right part, the right fill, the right groove, right? We talk about drum grooves, right? Or playing in the pocket. But it's really all it deduces down to, when all the sand drops down in between, the point of slim entry into the home free. As far as the beat, we're talking about feel, and that's why we have percussion added to the drum kit, right? Or the drum set rather, right? Like, it's important to have those things, but like, you really have to think about how is it going to function for you. Yes, I went through this, and it seems to be, right, at least, let's just say at least like the 80-20 Pareto principle, right? It's important to get it to 80%, right? Any song, any aspect of being a community musician, like, we need to work on that. Like, okay, this needs to go forward a little bit. I'm noticing a little bit forward on here, right? And so just think about that in your life, you know, in your drum playing, and also in your life, you know. Try to make these small, tiny adjustments that might not look like the right answer or the scholastic way of like, this is the one right way that you do this, that you set up a tree for your LP blocks and percussion in general, right? It's probably not the way that my you know, Dr. Brothers, my professor on percussion would tell me to do it, but he might give me the same advice that I'm trying to get to naturally, right? But it's all based on previous experience. So use that, use your previous experience. Like I said, if you've got a time constraint, you're going to want to assemble these LP blocks or any type of percussion. I've got a whistle, really nice whistle. And I've got, finally have, I don't have to rig it up anymore. I have something for my triangle, like an actual mount. But that's another thing. It's like, it really needs to be up here. You know, that's where it needs to be. I need to have like, essentially like get the thickness of this and then get like a piece of rebar or like shave it down, and you know, it's gonna grab, right, on the back of this with the wing nut. But it needs to be, you know, mirrored off of this hardware and come up to about there. So I know I at least need a foot, probably a foot and a half of clearance. You know, maybe it can be cocked off to the side and not fully frontal where you can see the perfect triangle right there. As long as you have one side to it. Wow, that's a cool little overtone. It's gonna work, right? I could put it down here for now. You know, if I need a place for it, if the show is tonight and I had to get ready for this, right? It's like, okay, well, this is where it's gonna have to go. And putting it right there to get it out of the way too. Like, it's all about functionality. Right? So we probably spent at least an hour and a half on this. I blocked myself in, but I think it's important to just get the shit done and figure out what's gonna work, figure out what's not gonna work. Here's my emergency kit, all my drum hardware. But yeah, figure out what you need to do to get shit right on your kit, you know. Dinner time, right? Yeah, totally. That's funny, Mike. You're like, hey, fucking come get it, bro. But yeah, if it doesn't work for you, this method is bullshit, right? Take from it what you need to take from it, right? Figure out what you need to figure out. It's fun, right? Make sure it's fucking fun first, or else it's almost not worth it, right? And anything you do, it look like you're having more fun than anyone else in the venue, any other band. smile when you play drums, show presence, right? Don't just focus on the part, right? Like a lot of times as guitarists, right, we don't want to mess up the part, so we logically go to our left hand and I need to play the right parts instead of, as drummers, we know this, working on feel. As long as it feels good, as long as you can recover, right? As long as it's not a out there solo sort of thing. And you are the only note or grouping of notes that are happening. I think that's okay, It's like fucking figure it out, like make it work. Don't stop the song. Don't, if you're bleeding, if you got some busted up knuckles, like you're gonna learn, right? You're gonna get some gloves. You're gonna do something that is going to help your previous efforts, right? The reality is it has to work, it has to be functional. Like I keep on saying, like if it's not functional, you might as well leave it at home. You might as well not buy the thing. And so we get into the conversation of like guitarists with pedals and things like that. If you can't play the notes, another pedal's not gonna help. Yes, it's going to be an effect. It's going to be totally tits, awesome, badass, just what you needed, the Cars pun joke reference, right? But it's quality over quantity, I've, like I said, with the from first to last band situation, that to go more into depth, what Lee was talking about in Georgia when, we recorded after them. They were in the studio before us, but their record label sent them out to Lee, and Lee told us this. He said, record labels are so, and this is what kind of, keyed me in on the process of like, what it's going to be like if you sign with a band. If I sign with a band, if you sign with a band, it depends on, the media industry landscape. It depends on the cultural climate. But yeah, like they recorded in the studio. That was a practice session. They got everything tight, so they didn't waste money when they went to the major label studio. And everything was redone. I thought that was crazy badass, I was like, I can't believe that they would waste that type of money. That's initially where I went. And when it comes to that finished, polished product of a song, right? We hear it on, our first CD that we ever buy. Think about this, right? Like we buy that CD or we buy that LP, that vinyl record, we put it on, we put the needle on there, boom, or we press play, we hear the laser disc, spinning the disc up to speed, right? Because that matters too, right? Rotations per minute, 33 and a third, right? But yeah, it's crazy. That first experience is you hear a record and you think that, they took one take and they got that and they're like, oh, okay, cool. Here you go. Here's your song from start to finish, right? From first to last. But it just is not so. And I think that's something that as committed musicians we struggle with. Just speaking from personal experience, right? It's like, oh shit, this song's 80% done, but like that last 20% is where it's at. It's all the polishing. It's all the work on the post-production. You can do 2 years worth of pre-production on a 10-song album and then get in the studio again and do all this post-production work. Music Foley, like creating, getting royalty-free samples, or going out in the field and getting your own samples, doing field recording. whatever you got to do to get it done, right? So, but in my definition of a committed musician, you can commit you could go too much into the perfectionist realm of that. So it has to exist. Like I got this from Aerosmith. Everything they did, that every song that they wrote themselves, it had to exist acoustically first. They had to go, on a cajon or some sort of digital kit, and then the acoustic guitars, and could it function within the context of a holistic song, a song as a whole, and would it fall apart? And if it fell apart, they didn't take it to Electric Ladyland Studios, if you know what I mean. They wouldn't record it, it wouldn't make the cut. So it's and there's a John Mayer quote too, where he, I don't know if I could find the link to the video, but he talks about, like, when he was working with the trio and everything, going into this, having the idea for the song, and then going into the studio and spending like $3,000 on like, I don't know, 8 hours or something like that. And then he got to the point where it was just like, oh shit, he realized that this song, it was just a really good idea, a real nice idea, and that sucks. That sucks to realize, like, that's his money, that's his thing, but I'm trying to do, the most quality, most bang for your buck. Hopefully this helped you out. If it did, subscribe. If I didn't help you, please don't please don't subscribe. As I described that. I only want followers that are going to be committed and are trying to, be the best that they can be within the context of where they're at. So if that's you, subscribe. Let's hang out. Let's talk. Let's shoot the shit. Yeah, good luck. Not that you need it, right? Because we create our own luck. But of the luck that we get as musicians, I wish you that. I wish you all the good shit. For this year, the next, for your whole life, it's, sometimes you need a little bit extra to get to where you're going. So I'm Troy for Committed Musicians. Peace out, y'all.